A very warm welcome to Overgrowth. It's the first map of this best of 5. Spawning to the top right hand corner, playing as purple Zerg. For my risk, and to Germany, it's Miezekotze. And to the bottom right hand corner in green, doing the double extractor trick, playing Zerg for the United States, it's Allaryce. Overgrowth, one of the old maps from the new map pool. This map has seen a lot of matches on ladder, in pro-games, in custom games. A lot of veterans will know this map for sure. So Miezekotze taking a hatch first, before gas and then pool probably, while Allaryce is actually doing the same thing. So no risk of getting rushed. Quite interesting that both players actually choose a kind of an economic opening and not that much of an aggressive opening, since the rush distances are actually pretty short. So I would have actually guessed that maybe one of them might want to go for some early pool shenanigans, but none of them did. So Miezekotze just getting her gas saturated as soon as possible while building the spawning pool. Same for Allaryce, they both want to have the 100 gas up once the spawning pool finishes as soon as possible, so that they will be able to get ling speed early on. In the meantime, both just sending around some overlords, wanting to get some vision of the map and want to scout what their opponent is actually doing, if they are in danger of any rushes that are headed their way or not. So in the meantime, the hatchery for Allaryce almost finished. Same for Miezekotze, both just mirroring their builds, while we now have the first 6 lings for Allaryce, but also 6 lings for Miezekotze, as well as the queens. Actually 2 queens already in production, and there's the second queen for Allaryce as well. So like I said before, just totally mirroring each other's builds, and thus it's only up to control and mechanics. We'll see who's actually going to make more and better use of their first units and the units to come. Quicker banelingness though for Allaryce here, so that might actually help out a little bit in the future. First inject here on the main hatch, and then the next inject is also going to follow. Banelingness, also for Miezekotze, thrown down a little bit later here, but in a good position so that it actually covers the queen over here a little bit. So if Zerglings should run in, she would have the possibility to just put the queen between the hatchery and the baneling nest, so she will always have the possibility to defend the queen a little bit easier, since the Zerglings won't get a full surround on her. So Miezekotze trying to get in, just getting, it seems, an overlord somewhere, so she just supply blocked Allaryce, which is of course a little bit unfortunate here. Seems as if she might have been able to just snipe one overlord somewhere over here that I just missed, unfortunately, because that's actually a big deal already. Being supply blocked that early in the game can just snowball so easily. In the meantime, Miezekotze just feeling secure enough in order to take a third base. Mass ling production there by Allaryce. She really wants to ramp up the aggression. Deny that third base over here is very important. I mean, once you realize that your opponent is actually taking a third base, there are actually only 2 things you really want to do. One is either take your base yourself. Oh, good baneling hits there by Allaryce, actually just getting a huge chunk of the lings of Miezekotze here. Unfortunately, no lings for a follow-up here. They're just now arriving. In the meantime, we have Allaryce just obviously being attacked by a few little lings over here, now sending in more lings in order to take down the third base, but there's one baneling around, now just rushing into the setup trap by Miezekotze, morphing in an own baneling. So let's see if she can get the good baneling connection over here or not, but the lings are already way more for Miezekotze here than for Allaryce. Has to be careful not to run right into that one baneling there, but another good hit by Allaryce, just taking out many Zerglings there by Miezekotze, who could have just by hand just detonated by hand a lot of the or just this one baneling by hand, and then just gotten a lot of lings over here. But now the good baneling connection by Miezekotze, taking out most of Allaryce's lings. Allaryce just sending in more and more lings, trying to kill as many lings of Miezekotze as she can in order to snowball the whole, in order to snowball the whole thing. But now finally Miezekotze managed to get up her third base. Just also got, it seems, one baneling into the mineral line, but one baneling alone is just not enough, sending in more links across the map in order to pressure Allaryce a little bit more. But from now on, it's really only a numbers game, to be honest. I mean, Allaryce's third hatchery only halfway done. Miezekotze now has the possibility to get lava from 3 hatcheries, and she also has actually not more workers, but maybe the somehow better saturation, also not. So the better income for Allaryce, but the better possibility to spend that income by Miezekotze. Miezekotze now even denying the third base. There's just no way for Allaryce to actually save that. Doesn't even cancel it, so also loses the 300 minerals invested as well. But that's not really the important part. The important part is still being behind one base and the lava that comes with it. So that just means that from now on, Miezekotze will just have so many more units she will be able to produce. And like I said before, this should just easily snowball from now on. Miezekotze sending in 1 Zergling, sees that 3 banelings are getting morphed. So she doesn't really engage yet, waits for her own banelings, but in the meantime, Allaryce just tries to run by again, but Miezekotze has some units in position as well, just rallies more units across the map. Another good baneling connection over here, but it doesn't really get the necessary hits. Okay, Miezekotze just trying to take out these banelings as cost efficiently as possible, but like I said before, I mean, as long as she doesn't get the major baneling hit right into the face that takes out like 20 Zerglings at once, she should just easily pressure through from now on out, since yeah, the snowball effect has just come into effect. Like I said before, too much lava, too much production, GG, and Miezekotze takes the first game. Newkirk Precinct is the next map in this best of 5. We have Miezekotze leading 1-0 into the series, and Allaryce to the right-hand corner. Miezekotze just outproduced her opponent in the first game, having 1 hatchery up way earlier than her opponent, massing links like crazy, then some good baneling detonations here and there, but mostly just mass producing in a way that her opponent couldn't keep up with, thus overwhelming her in the end. So it seems as if Allaryce wants to go for the same opening once more, just hatch first, and the same for Miezekotze as well. So both players not up to any cheesy builds so far. Allaryce already a little bit behind, just by a few seconds here. But yeah, no, actually now Miezekotze was a little bit behind, so it just evens out eventually. Miezekotze already sending out a lot of her overlords, same for Allaryce, just 1 towards the natural base, 1 towards the entrance area, so that you will always be able to see when the first few links move out of the respective opponent's base. Allaryce getting gas saturated, same as Miezekotze while building the spawning pool. It's just the same opening once more for both players, mirroring each other's builds. Good old stuff, just the usual routine, nothing really special to say. Okay, so let's see, this is Newkirk Precinct. I think it is a little bit changed, it got a little bit changed. Actually, it already got a little bit changed during Heart of the Swarm. At one point, the map actually had a sensor tower, not a sensor tower, a Zalnagat watchtower somewhere around this area. And I think you couldn't really move in via these ramps, but I think that's just the older version. We actually have the possibility to get 3 bases up very easily. We have the natural base, of course, very easy accessible, and then we actually have a 3rd base right in front of it, so very close by. And then there's also a 4th base that is a little bit further away, but still pretty easily to protect. If you like, collect your army around that area, you have just easy access towards your 3rd base, towards your natural base, towards your 4th base. But of course, the main base base then is pretty far away, and there's a lot of entrance area for air units here in order to get in, so that might just be a little bit tricky to defend against air attack, since the air distance is also pretty close by. So Allaryce actually once more just flew in the Overlord a little bit too far, so the Queens will now just have an easy time picking it off once more, which just again makes Allaryce being supply blocked while she just sent over... Oh no, yeah, no, that's making Allaryce supply block while Miezekotze just moved over with the first few links trying to deal some damage, but she couldn't since Allaryce was already prepared with her own 6 links and she had them in position. But like we said before, that's always a nuisance, losing that first Overlord that wants to go in order to see whether a base has been taken and whether it's a hatch first build or not. But yeah, losing it, of course, just throws you back quite magnificently. I mean, it might not just make that big of a difference if you play like in Gold or Platinum League, but the higher you get, the more important these small little things and small little timings get, and they snowball just way easier, especially in a ZvZ matchup. So Allaryce has already discovered that Miezekotze has already been taking a 3rd base, now just wants to tear it down. Once more, she just wants to ramp up the aggression, doesn't want to take a 3rd base of her own and then just go into a macro game and maybe beat her later on. So again, it's mostly just about execution. Good bailing connection there for Miezekotze, getting a ton of links here. Just has to be careful now not to lose her own, and that was just the bailing connection, or just destroying the bailing that she wanted to destroy. So no more bailings on her side of the map, which just means she can run across the map and see if she can just apply some pressure towards Allaryce. Sees that there are 2 banelings being morphed, checks for a potential 3rd base over here that she's actually already seen with the Overlord, so she knows it's there, will easily be able to take it out. And once more we have the actual same situation as in the game before, where Miezekotze is already sitting on 3 bases, now having the possibility to produce out of 3 hatcheries, having additional lava available that Allaryce just doesn't. As long as both players, of course, just keep injecting the way they can, the best they can, then Miezekotze will just always have a small little edge that will just get bigger and bigger with every production cycle. And eventually she should just be able to overrun her opponent, unless, of course, Allaryce might just be able to get like one big fantastic baneling connection. For right now she's just buying a little bit of time by trying to get in, but there was a baneling up on the top of the ramp just getting most of the links over here. These links won't really be able to deal that much damage, unless of course Miezekotze just pulls her units away and is not paying attention, but it seems as if the queen is actually able of dealing with the links by herself. So now Miezekotze just has all the aces up her sleeves. It's a lot of Zerglings in production, way more, like we said before, than Allaryce could ever hope to produce. Allaryce just desperately trying to take another base over to the left-hand side, but there's just not enough units in order to defend it. That could just be, almost the big banging connection we were talking about that might just get her back barely into the game, but I think by now it actually needs a lot more than just one miraculous baneling hit over here. Okay, just getting one baneling, another 2 banelings, it's a good trade for her, but it's just not enough. More and more links just streaming in, and like we said before, there's just no way to cost efficiently trade for Allaryce unless, like we said, she manages to get these good baneling connections. But Miezekotze has some banelings of her own in the fray as well, tries to destroy this baneling before it can morph, actually gets it, and now there's nothing left here to defend. One more baneling connection, but it just doesn't take out everything. The banes of Miezekotze getting inside the base of Allaryce, trying to get some drone hits, which they don't, but in the meantime most of the links down here already dying. Miezekotze just running in, produces more and more links to rally them across the map, takes out the queen over here. Has to be careful not to stand too close to these morphing banelings over here, but will now even take down the natural base, and then being only on 1 base? I mean, even the economy is just in shambles. 16 to 29 probes, more and more links incoming. Like I said, Miezekotze could just easily take a bad hit over here and just lose a few links. It just doesn't matter. In the long run, she will eventually overwhelm her opponent with just pure ling masses. And the only thing she really needs to do is just get in, destroy this hatchery over here. Then the lava production of Allaryce is down to 1 base, and she will just have no way in hell to come back, not even with the most incredible baneling hits you have ever seen in your entire life. For now, just shooing off Miezekotze a little bit here. Miezekotze just doesn't want to do a stupid mistake, losing it all, and that one might have already been it here almost. It was really close by. So she just has to do a full-out retreat once more. Like we said before, she just doesn't want to risk it and doesn't want to let her opponent get into the game, but actually she can't. I mean, now, like I said, this was like the most terrible, like the best hit she could actually get with the Banelings. It was a terrible hit for Miezekotze, but she's still up about 20 supply. Miezekotze just sending in more and more Banelings, trying to get good hits on either drones or, yeah, so either the economy, which would just be the best thing, Allaryce just spreading her drones out, trying to minimize the damage, which she actually does quite significantly here, but she loses the natural base over here in the meantime, and like we said before, just one more base, GG's out, and Miezekotze takes the second game as well. Allaryce chose Echo as the third map in this best of 5, but here we can see her opponent Miezekotze, who's already in the lead, 2-0, just needs to take this map in order to close the series, while Allaryce has to work a lot and has to work hard in order to get this series back. Has to win 3 games in a row, which is quite a task to achieve. So we will see whether she'll be able to do it, or if Miezekotze can actually close out this series already. It would already be a good thing for Allaryce to just win this map first. So she would be back at 1-2, and from then out could just get back into the game. So hatchery first, once more for both players. So we're probably going to see almost the same action once more. I really wonder if Allaryce this time around might try to take a third base instead of trying to destroy Miezekotze's third, because she tried to do that twice and she couldn't manage to do it. So I think that's the point where you usually just should start thinking about alternatives. When you just realize you had a plan, you tried it twice, it didn't work, so maybe I should now try something else. Maybe just try to get a third base of my own, trying to get my macro up, trying to get high attack units that are not that squishy, where I cannot just lose my whole army in an instant to one Baneling hit. So maybe I just want to have high attack units that are a little bit more sturdy and can take more damage, so that it might be easier for me to hold out a little bit longer and then maybe beat my opponent in the late game. But we'll see how it's going to work. Miezekotze getting her first queen out, and first and second queen already in production for both players now already. First few links a little bit earlier for Miezekotze, but there they are for Allaryce as well. So like we said, or like I said, it's the same build, the same construction for both players. And again, Allaryce just sending in her Overlord maybe a little bit too far. I mean, this time around the queen is not there yet, but the Overlord almost just getting a lot onto creep already. The queen will just spawn in a few seconds, might this time around just barely escape. But yeah, that's always pretty cheeky here and always pretty risky. So we have the first links already moving out. Yeah, and there the queen is already chasing everything. It's already chasing the Overlord, while the links are just standing around here, now moving in. There's only a queen here, but 4 links can't take out a queen, especially not with support. So always nicely done by Allaryce, just hiding her links back here behind the minerals in order to just send them in once the links of her opponent are just in. And Miezekotze just right away sees what's up, sees that a second base has been taken, takes a base of her own right away in order to get ahead in the economical game. And now again, we will see what's up, but yeah, Allaryce not trying to take a third base, trying to end it here, trying to deal game-ending or at least crippling damage in order to get way ahead and then maybe close out the series later, but preferably now. But Miezekotze has her speed, has more units already, more units incoming by Allaryce. She tries to morph in some Banes, but they're not done yet. Miezekotze could actually just try to focus fire them down, but it's always a risky thing to do. You don't really know how far they are before spawning. So you might just walk in and while trying to kill them, they just morph and have finished morphing, and then you just get blown up by the Baneling hit. By the Baneling explosion, and that's something you don't really want to happen. So this time around we actually have quite a significant amount of Lings and Banelings around for Allaryce here. Seems as if she just wants to go into the third base, maybe trying to tear it down while zoning out Miezekotze's Lings with her own Banelings over here. And this looks actually pretty good. Miezekotze this time around will not be able to defend her third, will actually lose it, and so now Allaryce is actually on the same amount of bases as her opponent, but in the meantime there's a little run by Miezekotze here, clearing off a lot of drones actually. Allaryce not really paying attention at home, has some Banelings in position, but is just too preoccupied with dealing with her opponent's attack at the front, so that she can't really deal with the attack at home, loses 5 more workers in the process that just run inside her main base. And if we just have a look at the worker count, it's now 22 to 19. Both players are on even bases. Miezekotze in the meantime just managed to get the first few roaches out and could just easily block her whole natural ramp. And from now on out it's 60 to 40 supply. Miezekotze is already up in tech. She doesn't have a third base here, and Allaryce still has some Lings in position that she might be able to use for a run by once Miezekotze's army actually moves out. I think roach speed is not done yet, is it? No, that's just the normal move speed plus the speed upgrade they automatically get as long as they are on creep. So nothing with the speed upgrade yet, but Miezekotze seemed for a moment as if she just wanted to move out. Usually you just want to wait for your roaches to move out until they have the speed upgrade for roaches, unless of course you expect your opponent to go into a quick spire. Then you usually just want to pressure them a little bit earlier in order to make them waste resources into things they just don't want to waste resources into at the moment, like defenses, spine crawlers, maybe some more units, even some expensive gas units, because the gas is the real important factor if you want to go for 2-base muted timing. So Miezekotze already getting a few Ravagers out, not getting the speed upgrade for the Roaches, which is actually quite interesting. She doesn't even have a lair, so that's why she can't really do it. Seems as if she just wants to mass a few more Lings, Banelings, Roaches and Ravagers, and then just walk across the map and kill her opponent off before she can just do anything else. So if we have a look at the worker count, it tells the story quite clearly if we just have a look at the 11 worker count lead. So more Lings in production. Yeah, Miezekotze obviously preparing for a 2-base timing push, just creates more and more Lings because they will stream across the map way quicker than her usual units. So she will be able to just reinforce a little bit easier. So small run by attempt, as we were talking about. There were some Lings hidden over here at the potential 4th base location. And once the army moved out, Allaryce just tried to sneak in a few Lings, made Miezekotze delay her push for just a little bit, but there is actually not enough forces in order to stop this. These 2 spine crawlers will just go down to the pile so quickly. Banelings not really effective against the roaches, and once the Banelings exploded, Miezekotze can now finally move in with the rest of her Lings as well. So, well, actually I think I would like it if she just took out that spine crawler over here, but now she finally does. And like we said before, more Lings for reinforcements, since they can just cross the map way easier than all the other units that Miezekotze has in her arsenal right now. GG, and Miezekotze takes the series with a convincing 3-0.